Buddy, hello, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, I'm Dan, your friendly fishmonger at dansfish.com. And we do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 9 Eastern for those who might be mountain challenged. We just get together and geek out about fish, basically. First, I want to check our technology, make sure that we're all good. I think I have the settings set back to what we figured out last week, so hopefully I'm in sync. My mouth and the camera hopefully are moving together, and hopefully everything sounds clear and not echoey. All right, time for the gun show. What gun show? Where's the beach? That gun show? It's a little less gun and more sag than it used to be, but you know, we'll take it. All right, let's get to the program. So we're going to start with our shipping report, and then we're going to talk about a giveaway. I'll give you a bit of an update about what's been going on here at dansfish.com, and then we'll get to your questions and comments. So if you have a question or comment for me, once we start that portion, just leave a @dansfish or #dansfish, and then your comment, or just dansfish. Select that, leave your comment, and that will show up as a bright orange box, like these bright orange boxes if you do that. And then I should be able to answer them. All right, let's get to the shipping report. I am thrilled to announce, that despite the dead of winter and all the really cold weather and everything else, we actually improved a little bit. So here we go. Super quiet again. No, it can't be. It can't be. Hang on. How? Let's see here. I've got the mic turned up pretty good. I've got the same setting there. Let's see. How's that? How's that? It should be the same. Is it quiet for everybody? Sounds great here. Sound is low for Kaler and Boots and Cats. Anyone else? Is the sound okay on your end? You're loud on my end. Audio is good. It's fine. Audio is great. It's not super quiet. I'm wondering if it's the device. I wonder if it's a device. Okay, I'm going to keep going. It sounds like the consensus is that it's okay. Maybe a refresh if it was low for you, or I don't know, it could be some devices are just fairly low. Because I think I have everything like I had it last week when we finally hit the sweet spot. Yeah. Just looking here on both things to make sure on both screens it's set the same. Okay, so anyway, despite the really cold weather, we have improved our shipping report. So last time I reported, we were at 98.47%. We've improved to 98.51%. So less than 1.5 of the shipments of the fish that we have sent out have either perished in transit or arrived in bad shape. So that's great. Our goal is less than 1%. We want to have 99% success. So we want to make sure that over 99% of the fish we send arrive alive, and not just alive, but hale and hearty and fat and sassy. And as Stephen P. 2003 says, fish with a will to survive. That's what we want. So, but that's awesome. In the dead of winter, with how busy we've been and how cold it's been, we've been able to keep the quality up and actually improve it. That's great. I'm very excited about that. Go team. Like, if any of my team are watching, thank you for that. That's quite an accomplishment. I really appreciate everyone's hard work on that. It is so tempting as you get busy, as you scale, as you have more to do, right? Oh, we're shipping more fish. Oh, now it's more fish. Now it's more fish. Like, to just get caught up in that and let the quality go. And the team and I talk all the time. They're probably so sick of hearing the speeches about quality and attention to detail and things. But they're doing it. Otherwise, we would not have improved that percentage with how crazy busy it's been, on top of which it's been very cold, on top of which Johnny's been sick. I feel like I'm operating this business without an appendage right now. Johnny's been out sick for a week, over a week now, I think. And he runs customer service. He helps make sure that the inventory's all up to par, and helps a lot with the shipping process itself. So hey, maybe that's why we improved. We improved because Johnny's been out sick. No, I really don't think so. We missed that guy. Hope you feel better soon, Johnny. We need you back, bro. Anyway, so that's awesome. I'm very thrilled that we have improved by 0.03%. And I can't wait till February, because January from last year, when there was that disaster shipment, will have dropped off, and our improvement should be drastic. So pretty excited about that. Okay, anyway, shipping report is very good. Now, it's never going to be perfect. I do know that there were some problems. So if you were a customer that had a problem, I'm really sorry. We do everything we can to prevent that. And if you do have a problem, please contact us. hello@dancefish.com. That's HELLO @dancefish.com. And let us know. We want to take care of you. We want to make it as right as we can. So please feel free to contact us. So anyway, excited about that. Let's get to the giveaway, and then we'll get to your questions and comments. So the giveaway is for some Hyphessobrycon margitae. So this is, I don't know if it's the newest fish. When did these become available? Maybe in 2017 they first started to appear, but they're one you don't see very often. They come out of Peru, and it's a shame we don't see them very often, because look at these guys. Like, these are just a really pretty fish. They call them the blue bleeding tetra, because I guess they have blue here and then red on the fins. It's probably why. Nice iridescence. And there, oh, that's a great shot. This actually shows you, it's so hard to pick up iridescence properly on camera, but Aquarium Blaster did it here. Look at this. You can see the iridescence and get an idea of what that would look like in person. Really nice. I found them to be peaceful. I found them to be very hardy. They eat anything. I literally have no special care requirements for them, because if you can keep, you know, standard aquarium fish, if you've kept a silver tip tetra or a sherpa tetra or a barb or anything alive long term, I think you could keep this fish. They're proven to be very hardy. So the giveaway tonight is for a group of them. We'll send you at least 6. And if you would like to be entered to win that giveaway, then hashtag blue blood, hashtag BLUEBLOOD. No spaces, capitalization does not matter. Hashtag blue blood to enter the giveaway. So if you put that in the chat, you'll automatically be entered to win these, and we'll do that drawing in a little bit. I figured blue blood was a short way of saying blue bleeding tetra, right? So yeah, that's one that I think will be new to a lot of people. I bet that's one that a lot of folks have not kept or even seen or even heard of. So hopefully that'll be exciting for people. We have 266 folks here. That is pretty darn good. Thanks for being here, everybody. Really appreciate you spending a little bit of your Wednesday evening with us. And if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to share this out to someone who you think would enjoy this type of content. We are trying to grow the channel. I love the live stream. We do want to grow it. It's the best place for us to interact with customers from dancefish.com, to answer questions and to help people be successful with fish keeping. That's what we're here to do. So if anyone you know would be interested in that kind of thing, bring them on in. We'd love to have them. Okay. Luckily, so the weather, as you know, has been a little cray-cray. That's right. I just said cray-cray because apparently I'm a teenage girl from 2010. But it's been a little crazy. So now, though, it's mellowed. We have, at least here for the next foreseeable future on the weather app, so that's, well, I think about 10 days is as far as I can see. Looks like the weather's going to be pretty darn mellow. Instead of negative 27 degrees, let's see what we're going to have here. Yeah, this is going to be great. Today was 29 degrees. Saturday and Sunday is going to be 48 degrees on Sunday. 45 on Monday. This is like straight up Scottish summer here. And then Friday, January 26th, 51 degrees. It's a little nuts. But what that means is If you've been holding off on purchasing fish because it's cold and you're worried about that, something to always be worried about, of course. For the next while, we're in a warm spell, so it should be fairly easy for us to get fish to you. Let's see here. That, I think, is about all I have here. We have a whole bunch of new fish that we will be releasing for sale, hopefully next week. That'll be their 2-week mark, so they'll be through quarantine. But if you want to see what those are, we did an unboxing video featuring those fish. I think that was released yesterday. So check out that video. You'll see what we got. Some of the stuff is really cool. And then we have a very good size import arriving on Monday as well. So after the holidays, we're kind of back in the saddle, starting to bring stuff in. So it should be ramping up here really shortly. I'm looking forward to it. Eric Tarrant says, can you do a trio of German blue rams? Thank you for the super chat. Always appreciate it, Eric. Never required. I'll always try to get to your comment or question, even if you don't pay us. But money falling out of the computer screen onto our laps is appreciated. So thank you. We can try. We'd have to actually go and look at the tank. So would you send an email to hello@dancefish.com? That's HELLO@dancefish.com, and say, I'd like to buy some GBRs, but I'd like a trio. Can we make that happen? We'll go take a look and see if there's any obvious males and females in there. So I don't know right now. Tank's over there and I can't see it. So I can't go check for you right now. But we would like to, if we can. If it's clear, then we'll do our best. David Allen, welcome to the Fishmonger crew. Hey, thanks for joining up. Thanks for becoming a member of the channel, David. Really appreciate it. I saw in the chat a couple of weeks ago, the last live stream we did, 2 weeks now, I think, there was someone that was trying to join, and it never let them do it. So it seems like it's working today, so that's good. Tim Davis and Coro Works, welcome as well. Thanks so much. Oh, Coro's been a member for a while. Welcome, Tim Davis. Thanks for joining up. Really appreciate it. Coro says, what's your favorite plant to sell and to breed with? If I could, okay, so that's hard. There's two that I like a lot for very different reasons, so it'd be difficult to choose between the two. One is Java moss. I love it. Fish love it. It creates tons of surface area. If you have shrimp, they'll just get in there and graze off that all day long. It's really good at supplementing their diet, giving them surface to graze on for shrimp. If you have live bearers or killifish, and you have enough Java moss in the tank, rice fish as well, then they'll spawn in that. And if you have enough of it, then babies will hide in it. And you'll get a good yield of babies just from that. So I really like it as a spawning substrate. I really like it as cover, and I like it as surface area. Plus, I think it just looks fantastic. It's a good looking plant. It takes forever to grow. It's not a fast grower, but there's an advantage to that. You don't always have to trim it back. It doesn't take over very fast. So I like Java moss a lot. And the other one I love is water sprite. Completely different. Surface plant, you can root it down if you want a stem plant. I just let it float at the surface. Grows super fast. You're gonna have to like you like take out handfuls of it, buckets of it every couple weeks and throw it away because it grows super fast. But because it grows super fast, it's sucking up a lot of nitrates and other chemicals out of your water, helping polish the water. I like to have about a third of the tank, maybe half the tank, covered with water sprite. A lot of surface dwelling fish and other fish really appreciate that. Have some cover to go hang out under if they want to. The roots get nice and long and really full, so it's a good spawning substrate as well. In my tanks where I have a lot of water sprite and Java moss, I get so much production of fry, even when I'm not trying to breed them. So those are the two plants. I can't give you one, but I can give you those two. They're so different. In some cases, I really want the one. In other cases, I want the other. But generally, I like both. And since Java moss grows slow, it doesn't need high light. So if you put that underneath your water sprite, it's fine. It doesn't care. So you can have a low light plant, Java moss, down on the side, you know, the water sprite up above that with the roots coming down and touching or almost touching the Java moss. And that's an awesome environment for a lot of fish. So I think that's fantastic. That's what I like. Holy cow, look at all these memberships flying in. Eric Tarrant, thank you so much, Eric. Really appreciate you joining up. Welcome to the crew. Brian says, hey, Dan, just lurking. Keep up the good work. Hey, thanks, Brian. I appreciate you being here. Jay Bloomquist, welcome to the Fishmonger crew. Hey, Jay, what's that? That's like 4 or 5 new members in 16 minutes. That's not bad. We'll take it. We'll take it. And there's already 319 folks here. This is going to be a good one. I can tell. This is going to be a good night. All right. Oh, something that's exciting that I forgot to mention earlier is for a long time I wasn't doing much speaking. The business has taken all my bandwidth. If I found half an hour, a little bit of free time, I'd go see my wife and kids. Like, that was the priority. So the business is getting to the point where it's more sustainable now. I am, for the first time, actually taking 2 days off a week, like having a pretty normal work week. I mean, it's not entirely true. I do still come in, but I'm able to have a little more balance, see my family a little more. Let's put it that way. It's, in theory, it's 2 days off a week. In practice, it's not. But it's still a little more free time. We've structured things so that I can see my kids. My kids are in their teenage years. Like, my daughter's gonna be off to college next year. So it's like, you know, I want to spend some time with them. Anyway, that's all happening, and things are kind of under control, tenuously under control. We're still growing like crazy, but we have good systems in place. We have good people in place. Our processes, people, and product, as the prophet would say, are in pretty good shape. So I've started saying yes when people have asked me to speak. And there's going to be a lot of announcements this year. As springtime rolls around, there'll be a lot of announcements. I think there's currently 4 places I'm going to be speaking this next year. And I have some pretty good talks. And I am looking forward to meeting as many of you as I can meet. So I'm really thrilled about that. Can't wait. All right, now let's get back to questions and comments. Before we dig in too deep in the questions and comments, I want to thank my moderators. Every week they spend their time, their precious time, they volunteer here and they monitor the chat, and I really appreciate it. Clicks Images, my fish are in the mail today. Can't wait for tomorrow to get here. I can't wait for it either, Clicks. Let us know how it went. I am excited that you were able to get some good fishies. Now, if you or anyone else that gets fish from us wouldn't mind taking the temperature of the water in the bags, right? I say that specifically because I don't mean the temperature at the top of the bags. That can be quite warm because the heat packs are up there. But I want to know what the temperature of the water is that the fish are actually in. If anyone has the time and means to, when they unbox their fish tomorrow, to quickly just take a measurement of the temperature and shoot us an email at hello@dansfish.com and say, here was the temperature, that would be most appreciated. We're constantly dialing in how we do heat. We're trying to get better and better at that. We're trying to get enough data and get it dialed into the point that we can more or less automate it and just have software written that says, oh, there's this size box and it's going to this place at this temperature, and the place in Sheridan it's this temperature, and in Billings it's this temperature, and in Louisville it's this temperature. Therefore, this is the heat pack that has worked the most in the past, so we're going to just automatically do that one. I actually think once we have enough data and can do that, I actually think that will be more accurate than me doing it all the time, because I have the little biases and the little thoughts and the little human mind, right? But with just the pure data of, okay, we did this many with this configuration and it worked this much of a time versus this many of this configuration only worked this much of a time, then we know what to do. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hopeful that maybe next winter we'll have enough data collected. We've been collecting for a couple of years now, that we can really have that dialed in. One thing we have learned that's unfortunate is that there are places that we can't ship when it's cold. If you're in Wyoming, unfortunately, during this really cold weather, we won't be able to ship to you. Or if you're in like Billings, Montana, there's a couple places where the next day air shipments don't go on an airplane because they're too close, right? They're kind of right in our state, right close to us. So instead what they do is they put them on a truck in a trailer. And there's no heat there. And they don't go stop at a warehouse or anything that's heated. And so what we found recently is that shipping closer to us is harder. And I don't mean like if you are just on the truck route, but that's only Wyoming, some places in Montana, and I think that's it. That is, it doesn't go on the plane. So that was a little weird. You would think like, hey, if I'm shipping to a place that's, 2 hours away, that it would be easy to ship there. That it would get there in, warmer temperatures. That the fish would arrive at a good temperature. It was actually the opposite, because they're in this trailer, truck trailer, no heat, no nothing, just in the bitterest cold. And I have literally covered the insides of the boxes, covered the lids. Like I could not put another heat pack in there. And it's still not enough when they're on that cold, cold trailer. So that is something we learned recently. There's one more thing I could try with those. And maybe I will, but I've been really hesitant to, which is, how you poke a hole in the styro lid so oxygen can come in and keep the heat packs warm. The reason I've been really hesitant to do that is there's already plenty of places oxygen can get into those boxes. There's seams between the lid and the carton if it's one of our large wholesale type giant boxes. And if it's not, then there's 6 panels of styrofoam that go in there, and on each seam oxygen can get in. So you want a little oxygen in to keep the heat packs burning, but you don't want so much that the cold air coming in cools the box. So that's what I'm starting to play with now, is on like the large giant boxes where it's a molded bottom and just the top, and you don't have the rest of the seams because you only have 2 parts instead of 6 panels. I've been starting to wonder if I did put a hole in there for oxygen, what the effect would be in the real cold. So there are a couple things I can still play with, but for now, we'll have to deliver it in person if we're like heading that way, or hold off on shipments that go right on the truck. So we're still learning. Like, we know a lot and we do a really good job, but still crunch the data and still figure out, hey, what's with this block of data? Why is that going that way? Oh, those are all fish that went on a truck. And all of them had problems no matter how much we packed them with heat. So, we're still learning. Doing pretty good though. Click says, any plans to get more pseudomugil Hyphessobrycon? Of course, yes. I do hope to bring more of those in. That's not one that you can always get, but there are some folks breeding them, so I should be able to get them in fairly soon. Oh, I like this one. Sith Lord. Hey, welcome to the Fishmonger crew, Sith Lord. I really appreciate it. Oh, they joined and then they gifted 5 Dance Fish memberships. That is pretty amazing. Thank you. That's super helpful, Sith. And they said the Sith were bad. Aquatic Moose, after the shipment, how do you feel about the holes in the lid? Makes sense for oxygen, but curious. The unboxing I just did, those all had holes in the lid, and those did great. So that's what's got me thinking about it. Yeah. I have to say, they arrived in good temperature, so there might be something to it. It's always seemed so counterintuitive to me, though, that you would poke a hole in your nicely insulated container. Like it's just like, yeah. Hey, it looks like Germany is also getting a heat wave. Awesome. Dan Brown, when will Xenotoka Dodroi be for sale? Oh, like now. I want to just list them for sale right now because I was looking at them a couple days ago and I was like, oh, there's a fair number of males in there that are sexed out, but I need to actually go count. So let's make a deal, Dan Brown. If you remind me right as I'm signing off tonight, then I will run over and do a count and see how many we can list. I'm pretty darn sure that we should be able to. Xenotoka. And let's make sure that, do I even have a listing built on the website for them? Xenotoka. Yeah, okay. So that would be easy. All I have to do is change the quantity because the listing's already built and ready to go. So yeah, Dan will probably forget by the end of the stream. I get camera brain and it's hard to retain all this. But if you remind me, then I will go list them tonight as I'm signing off. Rez, how often do you get discus in? Not often at all. I don't know, I go back and forth on that. I don't like dancing with disco divas. Discus divas is what I meant to say. That's really what it comes down to. So I do discus differently than... How do I put this? Than the discus fundamentalists. There's like a whole religion around discus that you have to keep them at this temperature. You have to keep them in tanks that are basically sterile. You have to change, you know, I don't know, 75% of the water every day. There's all these things. Oh, and if you bring in discus and take a picture and it's not perfect, you'll get like slammed. Even if your goal isn't, even if you're like, I didn't claim that was a show discus. I just said it was a discus. Not all of them are going to be like perfect show specimens. So it's almost not worth the drama, to tell you the truth. So I don't know when I'll get more in. Probably as soon as I forget what it's like, because I really do like discus. It's just discus divas drive me nuts. Drive me bonkers. Bill's Nanos, I have guppies and neocaridina shrimp and need a fish that will cohabitate and help reduce pond snails. Okay, let's see here, pond snails. I'd go with a friendly little loach of some kind, I think. Yeah. Yeah, pick yourself a little loach. There's a lot of snail-eating loaches that stay fairly small. So that's what I would say. Oh, Ben Okar says it's 20 and dropping to 2 in Nashville. Wow, you're getting the opposite that we are. Although 20 degrees sounds warm after like, you know, negative 27 or whatever we had recently. So yeah. Hope you're doing well, Ben. Hope everything's going well. Cody Miller, the 5 super red bushy nose and 5 lemon blue eye plecos came in and was packaged perfect. Fish was happy and healthy. No losses for my first time ordering fish online. It's a great experience. Oh, Cody, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad that your first time was a good time. Oh, I wanted to ask, so Ben, do you know what temperature the fish came in the last shipment you got from us? Did you happen to take that reading? I'd be curious what it was. I know there's one fish that had an issue, so I'm just curious. Although they're really tolerant of temperature swings, that particular species, so I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I'd like to know if you happen to have the data. Jacob Metzner, hey Dan, what is one fish on the top of your list to bring in this year? Huh. Oh, I would love to find a good source for Axelrodi rasboris. I would love that. That is something that I will try to do. I've been trying to do. Been trying to do that for a while and haven't had any success. So I can bring them in. They're listed all the time. But I'm trying to find a supplier that does right by them. And so far, I don't know who that is. So Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. The axolrod eyes. There's the blue, the green, and the red form. And so far I haven't found a good source for any of them. Richard Reynolds, Nick from Fish Keeping Simple. I know that channel. In Australia, we'll be giving a talk here next month. I'm going to ask him about the Pseudomygo furcatus orange fin variety. Oh, that's awesome, Richard. I like Nick. I follow his channel. From when he was like just breeding fish in that little kind of shed to building his own store and everything. Yeah, I like that kid's journey. Oh, chat jumps, so here we go. Scrolling up to see, there we go. But before I get to that one, I see that Any Fish Will Do threw down a super chat. Thank you so much, Any Fish Will Do, much appreciated. Hi Dan, underground versus sponge, you can only pick one, why? I would go with the sponge. I'm not so worried about the look of my tank as I am about the health of my fish. I'm a breeder, I'm a fish breeder at heart. So I want healthy fish in a good environment that I can breed and raise. I don't know why. I like a pretty aquarium, but the way I've almost always kept fish, with few exceptions, I've set up a few really nice show tanks and maintained them long term several times in my life. But what I really want to do is just have a functional tank to breed fish. And for that, a sponge filter is awesome. Because if you have an undergravel filter, then you're stuck with gravel. And you're stuck with gravel of a certain size at a certain depth, because it won't function otherwise. Also, there's fish you can't really get. Lots of cichlids and other fish will kind of dig in the gravel, and you'll end up with a bunch of gravel to one side in this pit that goes all the way down to the filter plate on the bottom. And at that point, the filter's not working because the water is going to take the path of least resistance, bypass all the gravel, and just be recirculating through that filter plate and back into your uplift tubes without going through the gravel and really taking advantage of that. It's not functioning like that filter is designed to do. It's not flowing well through a gravel bed with a bunch of nitrifying bacteria colonized in it. It's just going to go straight through the, through the filter plate. So I think there's a lot more margin of error for undergravel filters. And sponge filters are so easy, so cheap. And you can put them anywhere. They're versatile. You can see when there's a problem quite easily. So that's why I like that. Now, I have nothing against undergravel filters whatsoever. If you're like, hey, I'm going to always want this thick layer of gravel, I'm not going to keep fish that dig, and I'm going to, keep it siphoned out so the gravel's free of detritus so the water can actually flow through it well, then go for it. But I think generally, over the years as I've seen undergravel filters, I don't think the gravel is usually maintained well enough that the flow through the gravel is sufficient. I think it's finding a couple little spots of least resistance and going through. But most people just don't vacuum out the detritus enough that the water has a clear path through it. I think it's much more likely someone's going to grab their sponge filter, squeeze it out, and put it back in than properly keep up with all the detritus vacuuming that you have to do to keep an undergravel filter functioning properly. So that's my thoughts on that. Coach HCCMTB, still loving the raccoon tetras I bought in November, coloring nicely. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. It really is a spectacular tetra. I love the raccoon tetras. Yeah, I just think they're spectacular. I'm glad you like them too. JDM, can you keep honey and pearl gouramis together in a 55+ gallon aquarium? I would think so. I'm trying to think if I've ever kept pearl gouramis with honey gouramis, and I don't think I have. But I would think those two would get along okay. Never tried it, so I can't say for sure. Maybe someone here, if someone in the chat has done that combo, what was your result? How did it go for you? It's always better to hear from someone with firsthand experience rather than someone that's just guessing. And I would just be guessing. Connor, big fan, big order of Super White 236's. First batch was great. Can't wait for the second. Yeah, and they're looking good. I personally sealed those up today for you and sent them off. So if there's a problem, that was me. Since Johnny's out, I've been stepping in more and helping seal the bags. Pretty much spent most of the day doing that, washing bags of fish today. So Oh, I take that back. I didn't seal them. I just inspected them and washed them. Someone else sealed them. So the seal's bad. It's not my fault. But the seal won't be bad. They're going to be in great shape. So, Connor, I think you're going to love them. I inspected each of those. I washed them. And they look great. So, yeah, something to be excited about. Tony Adams, my Equus will be here tomorrow. I can't wait. And your team have been amazing and patient with all my questions. Yeah, we do have a good team. I was actually talking to Jonathan, my business partner, aka Random Arms, just a couple days ago. And I was like, I don't think we're going to get a better team than we have now. Now we can add to it. We can add different positions, but it's so nice. Everyone comes in, they know what they need to do. They do it, they help each other. And there's always improvements that can be made, but in general, I think we're in a pretty good place. And Tony, I hope you really enjoy those Equus. Let us know how they arrive, please. I'm so lucky, like the Equus tank is right there. I literally watch them all day long. They're out and about and scurrying around and looking good. Okay, I gotta wet my whistle here. Cheers, everybody. There are 407 folks here. That's not too shabby. Thanks for being here, everybody. Cheers. If we're already at 407 this early in the game, we could get up to 500. It's possible. There's 411 now. If you have an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend who I started that wrong. I jumped the gun. Usually how I say that is, if you know someone who would enjoy this, please feel free to invite them. And if you don't know someone that would enjoy this, feel free to invite your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. Let's make the chat really lively. That's how I usually say it. But I skipped the first part, so that probably sounded kind of weird. Spinster sister. What is the better insulator for tanks? Styrofoam boards, Reflectix, or bubble wrap? All in effort to provide lower power costs. You know, it's not so much the material as how you use it. So if you put a foam board on your tank, but it's not pressed up solid against your tank, and there's nothing sealing the edges, then despite the fact that styrofoam might have a higher R value than bubble wrap, it's not going to do as good of a job insulating your tank. So I think you can use any of them. I just encourage you to seal all the edges so air isn't going up and through. I see lots of people that are insulating their tank, but they've kind of just got some styrofoam up against it, or maybe they have a couple pieces of tape, but that's not taking full advantage of that material's R value. So I think it's more how you use it. All things used perfectly, though, your styrofoam board's going to have the highest R value. And don't forget the bottom of the tank. Don't forget to insulate under that if you can. Of course, on the bottom, you can't have such thick insulation that the rim of the tank is floating. So be careful about that. Bill's Nanos. Last week I received my fish. We were having a snowstorm and water temperature was 67 to 68 degrees. Well, I'm glad you got them. That's colder than we want. We want them to be in the 70s. But 67, 68 is still in, I'm going to live range usually. So glad to hear they at least made it at that temperature. But yeah, I want them higher. 70s is my goal. 75 would be, that'd be perfect. Nabokov fan 87. Hey, good to hear from you again. I had ordered the last few melon barbs. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry we couldn't ship those to you. Any idea when normal fin, normal color, white clouds, reticulated SAEs, or melon barbs might be available? Oh, I think all of our white clouds are currently golds or long fin. I don't have any plans to bring in normal white clouds. at the moment. That's a hard one just because our price on them is so much higher than you can find them at any big box store or whatever. So it makes it difficult for us to sell them. And we have to charge $5.99, and you can get them at your local store for, I don't know, 99 cents probably. Now I know the quality might be different and all that, but it's still a big ask for a market to sell fish at that high of a markup above the market rate. So so I tend to, that's why I don't bring those in. I like the fish, but I don't think the market supports what we'd have to sell them for just to break even. Reticulated Siamese algae eaters. Yes, I do plan to bring in more of the reticulated Siamese algae eaters. I think those are the ones that we call the spot tail algae eater. Is that correct? Are we talking about the same fish? In melon barbs, I probably won't bring in again for quite a while because I've had that group of melon barbs for, I don't know, 6 months, like a long, long time, and they just didn't sell. So much as I like them, if the market doesn't support them, it doesn't make sense for me to bring them in as a business. And I'm really sorry we couldn't send them, and I don't know what happened to them, but they developed something like real quick, and it wasn't good. Stephen White, I'm glad to see you getting fish from Aquarium Glasser in Germany. They really have quality fish and great variety. Hope they work out well for you. Yeah, it's going okay. My big reservation has always been the price. There's other parts of the world that produce fish a lot cheaper, but there's reasons they're cheaper. You know, it's working conditions, it's how well people are paid, it's the attention to detail that's paid to keep the lines good when you're breeding a line of fish. Or all the fins accounted for. You just see, like, I see all kinds of stuff. So, so my big concern was if I buy fish from Aquarium Glasser, which are several times more often than I can buy them from other parts of the world, will the market support it? And so far they have. People, I think, understand the difference. I think that people are willing to pay more for fish from a place that has such a good reputation. So far we're working with them, and it's working out. Now there's still some improvement to do there. They're not perfect. We're not perfect. This is an industry where you will never be perfect, but you can improve. You can make incremental improvements. So, you know, the pursuit of perfection, like Lexus, that's what we're trying to do. So we're still working on things with the German fish to try to make it even better. Okay. Just curious, how are the discus going with your water parameters? Oh, fine. Yeah. So we have a group of discus that's doing great. We have another tank where some of them are doing great and some of them just aren't putting on weight, but the water parameters are fine. The issue we're having in that one tank is there's something going on, like probably pathogen-wise, and we haven't been able to nail it down yet. We have other tanks of them that are doing great. So I think that they've been fine in our water parameters. I don't think our hard water is a problem for them being healthy long-term at all. Now that being said, our sample size hasn't been huge. So we'd still have to do, you know, some more testing and try some more things before we knew for sure if that's something we wanted to continue in our current parameters. But I'm confident that the pH and hardness are not an issue. The big question I have is how much of an issue is temperature, if it's an issue at all. So, JC Perez, when will you have more platinum albino female guppies available? Let's see here. That is one that I am trying to bring more in. When will I find them? That's the question. So I have a breeder that does an awesome job with some of the really fancy guppies like that. The issue is that it's one breeder that I know of that does a good job. So they don't have all the stock in the world, right? So I have to wait till they have more available, and then I can bring some in. So I'll be working on it, though. I do like the platinums quite a bit. Why are we always yelling? Hello. Oh, you were just leaving a Okay, you were leaving a link with Dan's fish in it. That's why I highlighted. Well, anyway, hello and thanks for modding. Really appreciate it. Joyce Brown says, hi, Dan. Really excited for the fish to arrive tomorrow. We'll be sure and take water temp. Thanks, Joyce. I really appreciate it. And we really appreciate any feedback. If there's a problem, please email us and describe it. We want to know what's going on, good and bad, like sincerely, because then we can fix things and make them even better. The data is gold when you're trying to do what we're trying to do. Aquarium Adventures has a shipping video testing hole versus no hole. Basically, if you tape the box up crazy tight, right, you can choke the heat pack. They used a penciled out a hold, wasn't too big. Yeah, correct. That's why we don't do that thing where you seal all the way around the lid. Sometimes I'll get shipments like that and the lid's sealed all the way around. There's literally no oxygen transfer. But I think that in general, well, I don't know, I have to test it. My gut feeling is that in general, there's enough oxygen seepage into our boxes that they get enough oxygen. And it's spread out enough over all the seams and such that it's not making any one place in the box too cold. My fear is that with the hole, I'll have a cold spot right there. But I have to test. Like, often I've been proven wrong. My gut instinct is not always right. So yeah, that's something, Nabokov, that I need to collect some more data on. Unwanted says, just finished watching your unboxing video. I'm getting fish from Aquarium Glacier next week. Some rarities from Asia, such as Nandus. Oh, cool. Datnoides and albino. What is that? Is that a... What is that? Bicolor. This fish, let's take a look. Oh, okay. Red-tailed shark. Albino red-tailed sharks. Are those rare? We used to sell those all the time at the pet store. Were those albino rainbow sharks? Yeah. Oh, maybe it's red-tailed shark or rainbow sharks that we had the albinos of. I can't remember. Well, I hope the shipment goes really well for you. Good luck with it. Nandus, that's a pretty cool one. Bryce brought some corridor similas from you guys and noticed that after a while some of them are missing barbels. Ooh, just wondering if you have any experience with this. Yes, not with that species necessarily, but with cories in general, that can happen. Now, what's the cause? That's the question. Could be an infection wearing them down. Could be that they're rubbing them on something. Could be that there's a fish in the tank that likes to nip on barbels. Not another cory, but another fish species in the tank that likes to nip at the fish and finds their barbels delicious. But yes, that does happen to cories on occasion. There could be lots of causes for it though, so I'm not quite sure which one it would be. All right, Connor, welcome to the Fishmonger crew. Appreciate you joining up, Connor. Thanks so much. Taylor's Reptiles and Aquatics. Thank you for the super chat, Bob. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Here's to the Codfather. Vibes Aquatics. Hey, Vibes. Good to hear from you. Great live stream, bro. Thanks. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for participating. And it was awesome to meet you. It's been a little while now, but it was awesome to meet you in real life. The other, I want to say the other day, but it's more like the other month, the other year at this point. Dan Brown says no listing. No listing. For the Dodroi, yeah, they're not listed yet. So there's a listing, they're just out of stock. So I just need to add stock to the listing, but I need to check the stock first if we're talking about the Xenotoka Dodroi. The listing's built, there's just no stock in it. Rhonda Fitzpatrick, holes probably help get oxygen for the heat packs. Yeah, that's the theory. Yep. Yeah, I've just got to test. I've got to test it out to find out what if the benefit of more oxygen coming in that's cold outweighs how much heat is generated by that. Like, the real thing is what happens if the shipment's delayed and the heat pack's getting to the end of its life, and now you've got this big, not big, but you've got this hole in the lid. and no heat pack to counteract it. Like if there were a delay, what would happen in that case? I mean, we use 60-hour heat packs, and delays aren't that common. When they do happen, they're almost always the next day they're delivered. They're usually only delayed by 1 day when it happens. So generally, we try to optimize for that. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at the numbers, but I think it's probably so rare that there's a delay, it would be that long that I'd have to worry about it. I don't know, there's a lot to consider. I have to really get into it. Cody Miller, do super red bushy nose have calico type black spots on them? One that I ordered from you just looks calico. Oh, would you take a picture, Cody, and send it to us? I have seen super red bushies that do have some dark spots on them, yes. But it shouldn't be a ton. That would, I guess, be a red calico. I don't know, could you send us an order, or a picture, I mean, so I can see what you sent you in your order? I said that all wrong. If you'd send us a picture, I'd like to see what we sent to you in your order. That's what I'm trying to say. And was this a fish you got recently and it came in like that? Or is this a fish that you've had for a while and now it's developing that? Because I suppose that can happen too. Some fish kind of change over time. But I wouldn't expect a super red bushy nose to be a calico looking fish. Spinster Sister, will you get some male orange veil-tail swords in anytime? My girls want to be mamas. I'm trying. I'm really trying. I hope to have more veil-tails, swordtails coming in Monday. They did not have any of the orange available, and I don't know if they'll send me males or not, but I'm trying my best. Hunter McLaren, have you ever successfully gotten rid of Malaysian trumpet snail infestation? The whole bottom of the tank comes alive when I turn out the lights. Yes, I have. I hate Malaysian trumpet snails with a passion like my hatred for duckweed, and for the same reasons. I don't like having organisms in my tank that I have no control over, right? That just are basically invasive. So the best way I know to do it, so I've recently tried hydrogen peroxide. That didn't do anything, which surprised me. So what we did is we just tore down the tank to the glass and let it dry out, like completely. No substrate for them that's a little damp for them to burrow in and get away from the, dryness in or anything like that. So that's what I've done. Now, I don't have, nice scape tanks with a nice gravel bottom or capped dirt or anything like that. So it's really easy for us to just get down to the glass and really sterilize a tank. In a different situation where I had, substrate that I needed to keep intact, I don't know how I would do it. There's got to be some chemical that would kill them and not kill your fish, but I haven't really dug into that. So I'm not sure how besides just scrubbing them out and drying the tank out. They're rough though, Hunter. They're no fun. Okay, Matt M. Will you be getting Corridor's Weitzmanni back in soon? Also wondering about Vietnamese white clouds. The Vietnamese white clouds I actually have on order, so hopefully we'll get some of those within the next week or maybe 2 weeks. Corridor's Weitzmanni I have shied away from a little bit. I had them for quite a while. I had them listed, I think, at $24.99, which I think is a reasonable price for Weitzmanni. And I think I sat on them for like 8 months and they just didn't sell. So, when I order them in, I have to get, I don't know, couple hundred of them. So I'm a little gun shy because of that. Now, the one and only Rick May is breeding them, and occasionally he'll have a few, and then I can buy them in like a couple dozen. And that seems to be more a market quantity. I haven't found a high demand for that fish. So I'm a little hesitant to bring a bunch in. Colton Sams, do you think you'll be getting any other species of Batis? Yeah, anytime I can, I'll bring in Batis. I love the Batis complex. They're fantastic. I'm trying to get Batis. You would be surprised at how difficult it is to get that fish. It used to be fairly common decades ago, but it's hard to get now. But yeah, I love the Batis. Justin Schiefer, any plans to getting chili reservoirs? Yes, absolutely. I think, so they're trying to, okay, so yes, everyone's out of stock right now because I think they're out of season. The idea is to stop collecting during certain seasons so they can reproduce and they aren't overfished. So everyone's going to be out for a while. As soon as they're available though, yes, I'll bring more in. That's a fish that if I could, I'd have in stock all the time. It's very popular, it's beautiful, it's peaceful. It's like almost a perfect nano fish. It's actually fairly hardy as well. So I like that fish a lot. Jacob Metzner, have you ever brought in freshwater pipefish? I just saw some at a public aquarium and they were really cool. We have. In fact, I think we made a video. We bred them and raised some here. I think we made a video of that you can find somewhere, although it might be buried in a tour. Who bought those from us? Someone bought that group from us. But yeah, they're fantastic. Once they settle in, the issue is how the exporters treat them. If they're packaged properly and all that, they'll be fine. They're actually a tough little fish. But they're often not treated right. So I almost brought more in for Monday, but it's kind of a specialized fish. It has a specialized diet and we're growing really fast. And so it didn't seem the time to like burden the caretaker of that section, whatever aquarium they go in, that section of aquariums will be taken care of by one of our crew members. It didn't seem right to like give them a very specialized project when we're just trying to manage our growth right now. So, but yeah, I do plan to bring some in at some point. They're amazing. Really neat little fish. Melody Rose, any plans to get any more of the green dragon guppies? Yes, I believe I have more ordered. I don't know if they'll arrive. They don't always send what I order, but that is one I'm trying to get in, yes. Sherilyn, 1015, do you have a time frame to get electric blue jack dempseys and algae-eating shrimp back in? Electric blue jack dempseys, I hope to have more arrive here on Monday. There'll be at least a 2-week quarantine, so I did order some. Now, again, I don't know if they'll send them, but I'm trying to get them. And the greenleaf algae-eating shrimp, we're getting a mono shrimp in regularly, but the greenleaf algae-eating shrimp, I only know of one person that I can get those from in the entire world. I've looked and looked. And so I will be bringing an order in from that person as soon as the weather warms up. May-ish, May or June, somewhere around that timeline. I wish they were more available, but they're not. Cool videos from a cool guy. Platinum half-beak info, just got one and it's not eating. Any advice? Well, if you just got it, like just, I would just give it a couple days to chill. I would make sure that there's some floating cover on that tank. Some kind of floating plants or something. About a quarter of the top of the tank I would have covered with floating plants or Easter grass or something that they can hang out under. And then if they're comfortable and it's been a couple days, I have found them to be super easy to feed, like just flake food they'll eat with vigor, in my experience. So I don't think they're hard to feed at all. All the half-beaks I've ever gotten in, even if they're directly from the wild, have always eaten flakes or tiny little micro or nano pellets, things like that, right from the jump as soon as they settle in. So I give them a couple days, give them some cover and try. Now, if that doesn't work, if you can find some wingless fruit flies, flightless fruit flies, they will love you forever. Or little pinhead crickets, something like that maybe to tempt them. But I suspect that something else is going on because they eat just plain old flake food with vigor from the jump. So that's my best advice. Just make them as comfortable as you can. The other thing is that I don't know, when I get them in, I always get big groups of them. I don't know if I just brought one in, if it would be shy for longer and not go out and eat as quickly. So that might be something that's going on as well. There might be something about them being in numbers that makes them more confident or less shy. I wish I had better advice for you, but those are my thoughts on it. Kate Forbes says, I think you do a great job shipping. Oh, we do our best. And thank you. Thank you for noticing. It's a ton of work. Like, it's insane, the steps we take to go through it. But it's worth it when we get comments like that. And I occasionally have to remind myself that all I see is the problems, and that 98.51% of the time over the last 12 months, it's been great. So I'm the guy, though, that's always fixated on what are the problems or what are the possible problems and what can we do to make them better. So it's nice to hear every now and then that things are going well, because I tend to not focus on that as much as I should. Melody Rose, what cichlids have you been proudest of bringing in and keeping fat and sassy? For me, maybe checkerboard cichlids. Those are notorious for being difficult, and we were able to distribute some of those. So yeah, that was nice to get some of those healthy and get them out. I wish we'd had more success. We did lose some of that batch. Oh, the Taniacara candidi. Oh yeah. Okay. This is one that I've been looking for a long time, and was able to bring a group in, and they did really well for us. These guys, like, these are just phenomenal little dwarf cichlids. Very different than, I mean, similar, I guess, in body shape and stuff to the checkerboards, but really unique little guys. So that maybe is the one. And look at this thing. Look at that. Oh, they are so pretty. So maybe that one, just because it's so hard to get, and we were able to make several people really happy by distributing them. That's generally what, I mean, fish breeding is my number one passion. That's the thing I love the most, breeding and raising fish. But apart from that, in this business, where what I'm doing is bringing fish in and reselling them, then the satisfaction comes from being able to find something that's really rare and hard to get and distribute it to people that appreciate it. That's really satisfactory. And that little cichlid, I think, fits that bill. Mike, is it best to buy epistos in pairs, or will they basically be brother and sister? It depends on the species. So epistos belong to different clades or clades groups, and they spawn in different ways. Some of them are pair spawners. So a pair will pair off and form a very tight pair bond, maybe for a long, long time. And for those, you want to get pairs. Others are harem spawners. One male will defend an area with a bunch of females in it. For that, it would be better to get one male and a bunch of females. So there's a few other strategies as well. So I would look into whatever the strategy is of the episto you want to bring in, and then see what you can do to match that. So I don't remember exactly which species belong to which groups, but there are differences like that. Christopher Chappells, run an experiment with the holes and heat packs and do a video on it. Graphs with temps over time would be so cool. That might be something I can do. Yeah. I've got a list of other videos I need to do. So I might just need to get the experiment done before winter's over and then make a video next winter. But yeah, I hear you, Christopher. J Fusion, will a group of CPDs be okay to put with cherry shrimp? Yes, but they'll eat babies. CPDs basically their natural prey is tiny little things like baby cherry shrimp. So I think they'll be fine, but you'll need a place for them to molt safely, and you'll need a lot of cover if you want to prevent all the babies from being picked off, because they will be hunted relentlessly by the CPDs. Brian Simpson, any idea when stir-by cories will be back? I have to check with Johnny on that, Brian. I'm sorry. Let me see if he knows. I know a lot of people have been waiting a long time for stir-by. So let me see. We did release some for sale, and they did great as far as I know, but they sold out real fast. Okay, let's see if Johnny knows. I did order more. I'll have more coming in on Monday. We do have another group of them, but I'm just not quite sure how close they are to being ready to go. That's a question I have to ask Johnny. Platinum halfbeak, how to get them to eat. I already talked about that one. Another thing, cool videos from a cool guy is they can't deal with a ton of flow. They like a little bit of current, a little bit of water movement. But if your aquarium has a lot of flow, it's going to be difficult for them to keep up. Rhonda Fitzpatrick, put a box full of bags with water only, heat packs in a hole, plus same box thing, no hole, and leave it in your car for a few days. Check. Yeah, of course. That's exactly what we would do. I'd probably just put it outside in our storage unit. And we have these little temperature recorders that record temperature over time. So when it's done, we can take them out and actually see what happened. What happened with the temps. Johnny, I'm checking that tank when I go in later. I bet some survived. Good to know. Yeah, so Johnny's been coming in at night when we're all gone so that he can get some stuff done without infecting us. So it's been an interesting, I don't know, a week or so trying to work without Johnny, or work without Johnny in the same building at the same time. Annie Hain, do you ever carry female sparkling gourami? Yes, we do. I am on the hunt for sparkling gouramis. I do hope to have some within the next few weeks. I have to quarantine them on top of that, but I do plan to bring more in. David Allen, thoughts on the Aquarium Co-op video with their recent delayed shipment? Not sure if those were 60-hour packs, but if so, they seem to have expended quicker than expected. They were 40-hour heat packs because the high in Washington at that time was somewhere up in the 50s, or was it 50 was the low? I can't remember the exact spread, but they were 40-hour heat packs. Yeah. The issue is they were on a cold tarmac in Idaho with no heat. Like in what was it, -25? I don't remember. It was really cold. Maybe it wasn't that cold. -25 seems extreme, but it was very, very cold. And so they basically sat for 24 hours out in the winter on an airport tarmac without any heat. I don't know of a way to package fish so that they're likely to keep at optimal temperatures when that happens. I was just happy they survived. But yeah. So basically, there's temperature ranges where within this temperature range, a 40-hour heat pack's ideal. And then within a little lower temperature range, a 60-hour heat pack is ideal, because they generally always get there the next day, with very few exceptions. Of course, that time there was an exception. Actually, you know what? I need to check. There were 2 shipments. The delayed one was the second one. Yeah, those are 40-hour heat packs. Yes. Yes, yes. I believe that was a smaller box that had one heat pack in it. That was a 40-hour. And where was I going with this? I got distracted. My mind went like 3 different directions. I'm trying to remember the direction I was actually speaking about while I was thinking the other 2 or 3. Yeah, anyway, it's a 60-hour pack just puts out too much heat if the high somewhere is, say, 70 degrees. But a 40-hour heat pack is fine to use with a high up to 70 degrees. It won't overheat the box on the other side. And then you have the 20-hour heat pack for times when it's going to go to Florida and it's going to get there and it's going to be 75 or 80 degrees, but it's really cold here, so I need to get them to Florida warm, but not be warm in Florida. So we kind of have that dialed in. But when there's a delay, it really does throw a wrench in the works. But if I use a 60-hour heat pack in certain temperature ranges, then it's more likely to overheat. And that can be worse for the fish than getting a little too cold. So yes, I successfully nuked my trumpet snails with no planaria product. Oh, that's good to know. It will kill other snails, but not shrimp or fish in my experience. May need to dose 2 rounds. Good to know, CS. Thanks for sharing that. So no planaria, got rid of trumpet snails. Wow. It's amazing. I didn't know if anything could. Rena Mar, I got 5 assassin snails for a nasty infestation of 30-gallon tank. Took them 6 months, but they are gone. I'm pulling out empty shells. I have to feed the assassins now. Well, that's good to know. Assassin snails can get Malaysian trumpet snails, even with their little trap door and everything, huh? Good. Hoa Wong, can you talk about longfin tetras and good tank mates if they'll school with other tetras? Which species do you have? Is it like longfin serpe tetras? I would say anything that's fairly quick but not aggressive would probably be okay with like longfin serpe tetras. The issue with serpe tetras is they can be nippy themselves. So you don't want to put anything in there that is really slow moving or likely to get nipped. But then you can't put anything in there that's assertive and aggressive either, because then it will nip the long fins on the tetras. So you have to find something that is wily enough that it won't get nipped by the longfin serpe tetras, if that's the species we're talking about, but not aggressive enough that it will nip the fins of those serpe tetras. And what would that be? I don't know. Maybe cherry barbs would work. Maybe white cloud minnows would work. Things of that nature, quick but not aggressive. Now, I don't know for sure if that would work, but that's my best thought just on the fly about that. Okay, let's see what Johnny says about the stir-by-cories. Probably fairly soon. Yeah, we're working on some. We don't know exactly when they'll be ready. They kind of aren't ready till they're ready. I mean, I hope it's tomorrow, but we won't know until they actually tell us. The rusty nut. What would happen, or would you happen to know roughly at what age Mabuna cichlids start exhibiting reproductive behavior? Excuse me. So with fish, it's not so much an age as it is a size. And Mabuna, really as soon as they start coloring in. So I would say if they're non-hormoned and you can tell males, it's not going to be long before they start breeding. They can breed at a fairly small size. I don't know, 1.5 inches, maybe? There's different size Mabuna out there. So, you know, different species get different sizes, but I'd say at about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, they're probably going to start breeding, is a general rule. Someone else who does a lot of Mabuna, do you have a different record? Like, did any spawn at like 1 inch for you? I'm not a Mabuna expert. Let's make that clear. Cool Video says the halfbeak seems to like pellets. Should I stick with that? Well, they won't like anything as much as flightless fruit flies. That's, you know, that's a drug to them. They love that. Have you had breeding success with the green leaf algae eating shrimp, and do you know what species they are? Don't know for sure what species they are, and some of our customers have bred them. I'm not sure if we have. I don't think we have, but some of our customers have. Kurt Brutting, your last unboxing video was awesome. When do you think the majority of those fish will be on the website? Those panda cories looked amazing. Yeah, the panda cories are still doing great. I'm really happy with them. And they should be listed for sale this by Wednesday of this coming week. So next live stream, should be able to have a bunch for sale. Now there's going to be some that probably take a little longer to get healthy and such, but most of them should be ready. All right, Cheryl Lynn says, I finally placed an order for L174 plecos. I'm really hoping to get a breeding group going. Super excited. That is a cool one. So for those that don't know, this is a hard to find pleco. It's the ocelot. And they might be the rarest pleco we have. These guys. Look at these guys. Really neat little fish. And little, this is one that does not get very big. Nice little dwarf pleco. I like them a lot. I think you have good taste. Really good taste, Sherilyn. The reason they're so rare is they're almost impossible to collect. They have a very small range, and it's a very rapidly flowing river, and they're like 30 feet down in this river. So how do you get them? Well, you go down with scuba gear. Well, or a snorkel maybe. Well, you're trying to go 30 feet down in a rushing torrent of water. That is not easy to do. That's very dangerous. And so they just don't come in often at all. First class fish or anyone else, dance fish or anyone else have a source for Pistogramma agassizi. How do you say that? Quipuera? Quipua? I know the one, I always call it Cupiera, but that's probably way wrong. Yeah, I think that's one I can get in sometimes. Their price point, if I remember, is pretty high, so I haven't been doing it. A Pistogramma agassizi. Quipuo. How do you say that? Quipuea. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. When I've seen them available, let me check out these beauties. When I've seen them available, they've been pretty darn pricey, so I've passed. But if I ever see them at a price that makes sense, yeah, I'll be bringing some in. But I don't have a source where I'm like, oh, tomorrow I could order those. No. Wish I did. They're awful pretty. Mr. Black, do you keep your Sulawesi shrimp in the same water conditions as the rest of your tanks? Yes. Any special substrate or water additions? We don't do a thing. We just feed them. That's all we do. We put some wood in there because sometimes they like to graze on the wood or hang out under the wood. We have Java moss in there usually, so they have, you know, a lot of surface area to graze on. Besides that, we just feed them fish food, pretty much. And they breed like crazy. It's like a big colony now of a lot of our Sulawesi shrimp. Now, that being said, we have naturally hard alkaline water, which matches their natural environment quite nicely. But we only keep ours at 79 degrees. We don't keep the tanks at 82 or 84 or anything like that. So 79 degrees, hard alkaline water, really clean water. It's constant fresh flow through those tanks. And we just feed them a lot and they do great. I found them to be super easy. Fish Hunter, will you be getting in more orange zebra autos? Absolutely. As soon as more available, I'll bring them in. Yes. But I don't know when that will happen. There's one supplier. There's several places you can get them. There's only one supplier I get them from them, though, because I've tried others and you know, they didn't do a good job. There's a lot of health issues. But I've got one person that does a great job. So next time they have some available, yes, I'll bring more in. That's one that I would like to always keep in stock. I just wish there were more suppliers that did a good job with them. Bearded Bullets. I have some Pandagara and Cories coming tomorrow. In my effort to do some last minute research, I saw a couple threads saying it might be an issue. Thoughts new to the hobby? I don't think so. The only issue you might have is that the Pandagaras are boisterous and curious, and if they, you know, nudge the Cories around too much, then you might need to separate them. And I don't know how many you got of each either, but I've kept lots of different fish with Pandagara without problems, so I think it could work. I just keep an eye on it. Annie Hain, what is your favorite nanofish for a 3-gallon that's not a betta? A paradise fish? It's close to a betta, but what I like about the paradise fish, at least the one that's generally available in the hobby, the commonly available one, is it can take cold temperatures. So you can keep them in a 3-gallon bowl, but you don't have to heat them, which is awesome. But you can also do small little nanofish in there that don't need a lot of swimming room. Bumblebee gobies aren't like a rapid swimmer. They like to just kind of hang out and perch on stuff. That would be good. Some of your dwarf little nanofish would be good. I think that toothpick fish would be great in a tank that size. Let's see, what are other little fish that don't need a ton of swimming room? That's a start. Anchor catfish, halfbeaks, little wrestling halfbeaks. Kaler's Reptiles and Aquatics has thrown down some Pippi Longstocking, which means, yes, it's 8:22. We got to do this drawing. We got to see who is the winner of some Hyphessobrycon margitae, the blue bleeding tetra. Look at these beauties. Whoever wins will get a nice group of those. And the winner is Melody Rose. Thanks for being a member of the channel, Melody. Really appreciate it. Like the guppy in your photo there. That's pretty cool. Melody, you have 2 minutes to chime in and let us know you're here. You need to leave a comment and chat within 2 minutes. 2 minutes timer. And if you do that, then you'll claim your winnings. If you don't do that, you'll forfeit your winnings and we will draw somebody else. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to get a couple more. I just brought a new baby home. Fish room wasn't prepared for the lack of time I now have. Yeah, that'll change your life. Yes. Any tips to simplify it and make it more efficient? Yes, auto water changes. It's going to take quite a bit of time to plumb the tanks and get it all set up, but once it's set up, that is my biggest hack for keeping fish with as little effort as possible. Automated water changes. That would be my biggest suggestion. A couple other things you can do is just keep less fish in each tank. Have some plants in the tank. That'll kind of help keep water stable if you need to go longer between your water changes. I would also feed live or frozen foods because they'll create less waste. With flakes and pellets, a lot of what that is not digestible to the fish. So when the fish poops, it's going to poop a lot more and poop out a lot more nutrients into the water column that can foul the water, or create issues with nitrogenous waste, or create, you know, little micro booms and stuff like that. If you feed frozen foods or live foods, then they can digest a lot more of that, and they're gonna, what passes through their digestive tract and comes out on the other side is gonna be, let's just say, less potent. All right, let's see if Melody Rose has not chimed in yet. All right, Melody, you've got 7 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Melody! Oh no, oh, there you are. In a nick of time. Melody, you had me nervous. Although that could be just the delay in chat. I know sometimes there's a delay. Melody, if you would send us an email, hello@dancefish.com, HELLO@dancefish.com. We need your first name, your last name, and your mailing address, and then we will arrange a time to send those tetras to you. Congratulations. Thanks for playing. And yeah, thanks for being a member of the channel. Really appreciate it. I'm going to do one more and then we'll close it down. Oh, Dan Brown reminding me to check the Xenotoka Dodroi. I will do that as soon as we shut the stream down. So within about 5 minutes of us ending this stream, if there's enough that I can list them, then you'll see that. They'll be available for sale at the top of the list. Okay. Looking for one from someone. Let's see here. Did chat jump? This is strange. Okay, the next one I see is Fish Hunter. Received another shipment. I'm enthralled with the Rhinogobius natiensis. Oh, Rhinogobius are so much fun. What an awesome fish. I have other gobies. It's quite the clown. Always out and goofing about. Yeah, Rhinogobius are active, fun little clowns. You nailed it. Yep. They're fantastic. I'm glad you like them, Fish Hunter. That's a good note to end on. With that, let's close this down. I want to thank my moderators for showing up and modding again. Thank you. I want to thank everyone who's a member of the channel. Thanks for being a member of our Fishmonger crew. Appreciate the support. Everyone that threw money at us, thanks for the super chats. Much appreciated. Oh, and who gave away the 5 Dan's Fish memberships? Sith Lord, thank you so much for giving away memberships. That's super helpful. I very much appreciate that. If you were active in the chat, thanks for making this, thanks for participating and making this, I don't know, giving me something to respond to. I really appreciate the questions and comments. If you are lurking, hail the Lurker Nation. If you're watching the replay, hello from the past. And last but not least, if you're listening to the podcast, that means I finally found the time to get these over onto the podcast. I'm so behind it, shameful. But thanks for listening anyway. Appreciate your patience. All right, we'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel, with a bunch of the fish that were featured in the last unboxing video available. They should be available that day. I can't wait. All right, with that, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.